Hey, cunts, don't forget to click the subscribe button.
But we're on a run right now, God almighty. I was looking at the stats. We're slightly less than doing twice as many deals during Corona. Slightly, we're about 90+%, almost 100% more deals, which goes against the grain of everything that you read. We shouldn't be. We shouldn't be. We shouldn't be. It's quite remarkable. Now, I don't keep track of what the other guys teach because I'm not interested. But if they're not telling you this is the time, but their deal doesn't work, or I'll rephrase that, they really don't care for the most part, other than they want to sell you something else. I say facetiously that I hope all the Hall of Famers don't come back into the market. Well, that's not such a joke because those guys have the money, have the track record, have been in mobile home parks. So, I mean, but most of them have gotten fat and sassy. They're satiated, so maybe a half a dozen will come back, not 100. Because they realize how much easier it is now. And it's quite remarkable. It's quite remarkable. We were talking at my end of the table about whether Trump's going to get reelected. I believe he will be. And so, but economically, he's been good for the country. He stepped on his dick. He does a lot of things I don't agree with, but for the most part, and he's a smart guy. He's extremely smart, and he's running the country the best he can, like a business. And he's probably been the only president that's ever done that. And most of the other presidents. Now, originally, Donald, to his advisors, it's all right. We have a lot of that 100-year-old vintage shit. Just break another bottle. Originally, the president was only going to run for one term. He wasn't interested in getting reelected. So he was going to do a lot of shit. But once I'm told, I've never been in that seat of power. Once you're in that seat of power, it's tough to let go of. And I don't blame him. And he's done a lot of good. If it wasn't for the Corona, he would win in a landslide that would just dwarf any other landslide that there's ever been. Yeah, he's still going to win, but I mean, he would have. And right now, the reason why the market, and I've said this before, one of the reasons the market is going up so much is the big money, and this is a shitty thing to say, don't give a fuck about Black Lives Matter. E-commerce, commerce matters. And that's why the markets are going fucking berserk. And if the dipshits that were down there with their placards and rioting and ruining businesses across the country understood that, I don't know if it would make any difference to them and they would change their attitude, but it's remarkable. But the big money is going to have more money at the end of this debacle, and the poor are going to be poorer, which is unfortunate. But having been on that poor end of the continuum before, I've been rich, and Sally and I have been poor. But Sally and I would both take cyanide pills and be dead rather than be poor again. We would rather be dead. Now, you got to get rich yet. You're not rich yet, but yet is the operative word. And even though, I tease the Muslims, I tease the Germans, I tease everybody, but I poke fun at everybody. And I tell it as I see it. But, living 75 years and been in commerce 50 years and being at the high end, it's not like I was a ditch digger. I've been exposed to some really sharp, extremely successful people. And even though they may not say it now because of cameras and iPhones, etc., we all think alike, plus or minus 5%. We all think alike. plus or minus 5%. And New York is paying their penance now because the New Yorkers have been arrogant forever. They're a little more humble now, I'm told. The cab drivers aren't so nasty to you now, which I think is a good come-up for them. But the world's fucked, guys. I mean, it just is. It's quite remarkable. And but we have so much opportunity. So much opportunity. I get, emails, several a day, and probably only 1 or 2% of my following, if that's the right word to call it, are contacting me. I was surprised to get the picture of John and his wife Amber today in the rolls, who is he's not such a nice guy, but he's very fucking effective. He's not a nice guy, but he's extremely effective. And when his engineering education finally, he got over that and he realized, and he's Chinese and he's tight with his money and he's this and that. But once he figured it out, he's been an animal. And it's not derogatory to say that you're an animal, He's not a pedophile, he's not doing bad things, he's not planting landmines in Ethiopia or shit like that. But he is an animal. I mean, he'll leave you for dead economically. But so will Elon Musk. So will Warren Buffett. For those of you that are old enough, about 15, 18 years ago, Warren Buffett did a special on 60 Minutes, the program on CBS, 60 Minutes. And they interviewed one of Warren Buffett's granddaughters, who told pretty much the truth about Warren. That was Sunday night, 6 o'clock. By Tuesday noon, Warren Buffett had disinherited that whole section of his family. The entire section of his family had been disinherited because the granddaughter had spilled the beans about how Warren really is. He is a tough guy. And his children that have been interviewed over the years, he will take every advantage known to man to win. Now, that doesn't sound like you guys, does it? Before you got here. And the only caveat that I put forward, which has been difficult, moral, legal, ethical, and moral and ethical swing in the wind. So I tell you to go where there's a rule of law. But Warren's tough. He's just tough. And success leaves clues. Everybody that you saw a movie about, and I could have given 50 more movies, is tough. Now, to a lesser extent, the webinars that you've seen, and they're not as tough, but they're early in their careers. They're tough. Most of them are tougher than you, but they're early in their careers. And the more successful you become, the more you learn no good deed goes unpunished. No good deed goes unpunished. And that's a tough thing to swallow, because it's the antithesis of how, for the most part, all of our mothers nourished us. I'm not saying that was good, but they nourished us, loved us, and all that crap. But look what it's left. The difference between my loving and nourishing mother, as I had an assassin for a dad, a world-class assassin in the real sense, and he was hard as fucking nails. And everything about him, it sounded very much like the lawyer. Be a man. Walk with your head held high. Remember? That's shades of my father, And that's not that's not popular, and it hasn't been popular for 30, 40 years, or even longer. But you can do it if you want it bad enough. The guys that stay focused the longest and that understand the difference between prospects and suspects. And that's not easy. That's not easy. For those of you that have no sales experience, and you get somebody that'll actually talk to you, fuck, you feel, but if they don't talk to you, and it sounds vulgar, uncouth, unsavory, cannibalistic, caveman-like, honey, it starts and ends right here. Now, I didn't really know how prophetic that was when I was saying that 40, 50 years. I really didn't. I just realized that, I had a high testosterone level, high sex drive, and for me to go through all the romance, the flowers, it took too long. So I developed it worked. Jesus, it can't be, nobody's saying I'm raping them Jesus Christ, how is this? And I told you the story when I'm in the toilet, I collected all the sandwiches for the next 3 or 4 days in my pockets of my coat, and they put their legs around my hips, and they squeeze my sandwiches, and the mayonnaise comes out into my suit pockets. I didn't stop fucking though. Believe me, I didn't stop to save my sandwiches. I just kept on humping. But when my kids hear that shit, they just look down. They're embarrassed. Now you guys, fuck, that must have been great, Jesus, and it was great. I'd be a lying old git if I told you it wasn't terrific. But I lost it. And then I'd go to a meeting. I didn't have enough money to clean the suit. This happened Sunday night, right? I got a meeting Monday. So I'm doing my best to scrub the fucking mayonnaise out of my pocket. And it looked like shit, so I'd have stains. So I had a top coat, and I'd wear the top coat into the meeting. And, can't we take your coat? Oh, it's all right, I'll keep my coat on. Because I'm trying to hold the top, the sides of the top coat over my mayonnaise smeared. And I stopped using mustard because you can kind of blend in mayonnaise, but mustard you can't. Now, why should I know all this shit? Because I did it. And of course, and then I share it. Because, I'm still sitting here with this, fire bullshit behind me. So I've been there. And I've been poor, and I've been rich a long, long time now. And there's no comparison. I was talking to the doctor about his plane, which is neat. There you are. Is neat that he flew here, and he flew over the state, right? And he showed me his video, not video, but his phone of it, and that's neat. I think that's pretty fucking neat that he was able to do that. And I asked him when he was telling me about flying 5 hours, and they don't have a toilet on this plane, so he had to stop drinking liquid, right? And so now if you're there without your family, don't you just pee in a bottle? That's not a yes or a no, but when Sally and I were in the South Pole for the Amundsen's 100th anniversary, which was 2011, and we got married in the South Pole. It's 40, 50, 60 below zero. They give you bottles. They give you a water bottle, and they give you an empty bottle. And the empty bottle is to pee in the bottle. So because to walk 50, 80, 100 meters to the toilets is pretty rough. Sally never peed in the bottle. For a lot of obvious reasons, it's harder for a gal to pee in a bottle. And I know a few studs, because your dick's too big, you probably couldn't get it in the bottle top. But I had no problem getting it in the bottle top. But then they tell you to hydrate because you're in that weather. So I'm drinking a lot of water, and so I have to pee more than the fucking bottle. So I'm taking Sally's water bottle, and I'm pouring the water out outside, and it's freezing the water as it's going out of the bottle, and I'm peeing in her bottle. And but we've been blessed because we can go. We've been to the South Pole. We've been to the North Pole. We've been to the actual magnetic poles. Of the 11 scientific expeditions that have been to both poles in the last 110 years, they're all dead except Sally and I. And when I hear these people talking about global warming, it's a joke to me. And when you talk to the scientists there and you mention global warming, they all start laughing. They all just start laughing. And I still remember, and this is on YouTube someplace, they're taking ice cores from the South Pole. And the South Pole is on a mountaintop. And so we're at about equivalent of 14,000, 15,000 feet. And they're saying 55,000 years ago, it was 2 degrees Celsius warmer on the planet than now. I said, excuse me, doctor, stop. And so he explains it to me with the core. And I don't know how they can tell that from the core of ice, but he said, everybody knows it's cyclical. And but anyway, so we've had the ability to go to a lot of neat places. And all this takes money. You don't go to Shangri-La, Kathmandu, the South Pole, the North Pole, and all the places that Sally and I have been, on a lark. It all takes money. It all takes money. Pardon? No, it's not Zen. I wish Zen would work. I'd like to pay my bills with Zen, but so far, it hasn't worked. For those of you that have made Zen work to pay your bills, please let me know. Bless you. Was that a corona sneeze? Okay, well, it's good you're leaving tomorrow morning, okay? We are, but all this stuff takes money. And part of the reason I believe that there's been so much rioting and the Black Lives Matter thing has been exacerbated, and I'm not diminishing or saying that Black lives don't matter, is the fact that because of Corona, people have been in lockdown, so now they have nothing to do and all day to do it in. So what better opportunity for them to riot and cause a lot of shit, and which is unfortunate. And when we talk to our children, which are millennials, they're right in the right age group to get in trouble, but they have been locked down. They say, "Daddy, we're an anomaly. We don't get along with our fellow millennials because we don't believe that." And part of the reason they don't believe that is because Sal and I have trained them over the years. And everybody's life matters. That's not the point. And then again, this poor guy gets shot 7 times. But I mean, being a cop is a thankless job. It's a thankless job. And nobody looks at it that way. We've had 2 or 3 British policemen come to the program. They don't carry guns. And all 3 have said for the last 10 or 15 years, the unions of the British policemen have been trying to get guns back. And he said, one guy, a Malaysian guy, who's been a cop 20 years, he's retired now, had been shot 4 times,